The message came in the middle of the night cycle aboard the Galactic Council station. Admiral Cross stared at the display screen with his 3 eyes narrowed in confusion. Another fleet had gone silent. That made 4 in 2 months. The Krathan military leader stood over 8 feet tall, his thick armor-plated skin gleaming under the station lights. He had fought in 17 wars across the galaxy. Nothing surprised him anymore. But this did. This was different. "Show me the last position," Cross ordered his aide. The holographic map appeared showing the Helix Nebula sector. A small blue marker indicated where Patrol Fleet 79 had last transmitted. Then nothing. No distress call. No emergency beacon. Just empty space where 30 warships used to be. "Any debris?" Cross asked. "None, sir." The search teams found nothing. Cross's clawed hand clenched into a fist. Ships did not just disappear. Even if they were destroyed completely, there would be something. Metal fragments. Energy signatures. Bodies floating in the void. Across the station in the diplomatic quarter, Ambassador Chen sat in his small office. The human looked tiny compared to the other species that walked the council halls. He wore simple clothes and kept his head down when the larger aliens passed by. Most council members barely noticed him. Chen reviewed reports on his datapad. His fingers moved quickly across the screen. He smiled slightly as he read the latest news. Another Krathan fleet missing, right on schedule. The human reached for his communication device and typed a short coded message. 3 words. Ghost protocol continues. On the council floor, the 3 ruling species gathered for their emergency meeting. The Krathan controlled the military. The Volari built the best technology. The Zephyrim owned most of the galaxy's wealth. Together they decided everything. "These disappearances are concerning," said Counselor Vex, a Volari with silver skin and large black eyes. "But we should not panic. It is probably pirates." "Pirates?" Cross growled. "What pirates could take down 30 warships without a trace?" "Perhaps a spatial anomaly," suggested a Zephyrim representative, his thin body swaying as he spoke. "The Nebula region has unstable areas." Cross did not believe that. He had studied each disappearance carefully. They happened in different sectors, different types of space. The only connection was that each fleet had been alone, separated from the main battle groups. "I want to form a task force," Cross announced. "We need to investigate this properly." The council agreed. They gave him 2 specialists. Serena was a Volari tech analyst, brilliant with sensors and computer systems. Quex was a Zephyrim intelligence officer, skilled at finding patterns in chaos. Together with Cross's military experience, they would solve this mystery. The task force began their work the next day. They reviewed every piece of data from the missing fleets. Serena pulled up the last transmission from Patrol Fleet 79. The commander's face appeared on screen, his expression confused. "Unknown contacts approaching. They are not responding to hails. Wait, they are firing. But our sensors show nothing. How can they?" The transmission cut to static, then silence. "Run it again," Cross ordered. "Slow it down." Serena replayed the message frame by frame. In the background, through the viewport behind the commander, they could see something. Brief flashes, dark shapes moving against the stars. "There," Quex pointed with his long finger. "Those shapes. They are ships." "But our sensors detected nothing," Serena said. "That should be impossible. Even stealth technology shows some signature." Cross leaned closer to the screen. The shapes were small, much smaller than standard warships. They moved fast, darting in and out of view. Then the screen went black. What weapons could destroy a fleet so quickly? Serena wondered aloud. "Find out," Cross commanded. "I want a search team at that location. Bring me anything you can find." While the task force worked, Ambassador Chen attended a council session about trade routes. He sat quietly in the back, pretending to take notes. When the Krathan representative mentioned increasing patrols, Chen raised his hand. "Honored Council," he said in a soft voice. "Earth would like to request permission for defensive rights in the Outer Rim territories. We are a small species. We worry about pirates." The council members barely looked at him. The Krathan representative waved a dismissive hand. "Granted. Humans may patrol their local systems. Do not bother us with such small matters." Chen bowed his head. "Thank you, Honored Council." Inside, Chen felt satisfaction. They had just given him exactly what he needed. 3 days later, Cross received the report from the search team. They had found something, small fragments of metal floating in space. Not from council ships. The metal was crude, simple alloys. Primitive construction. Serena analyzed the fragments in her laboratory. Her eyes widened as she read the results. "Admiral, you need to see this," she called. Cross entered the lab. "What did you find?" "These fragments. The damage patterns are unusual, not from energy weapons. These are kinetic impacts, solid projectiles moving at incredible speeds." "Kinetic weapons?" Cross almost laughed. "Those are ancient technology. No one uses them anymore." "Someone does," Serena said, "and they are very effective. Look at these calculations. If you fire a solid object fast enough, it hits with more force than most energy weapons. It just requires tremendous velocity." Quex entered the lab carrying another data pad. His face looked troubled. "I found something interesting in the database," he said. "I was researching primitive species that might use kinetic weapons. I looked at Earth's military history. The humans?" Cross scoffed. "They barely have space travel." "Yes," Quex agreed. "But they have something else. For thousands of years they fought each other. They developed something they call asymmetric warfare. Small forces defeating larger ones through surprise and tactics." Cross looked at the metal fragments again. A cold feeling crept through his body. "You think humans are behind this?" "I think," Quex said carefully, "that we should consider all possibilities." Ambassador Chen walked through the station corridor that evening. He passed a viewport and stopped to look out at the stars. Somewhere out there, Commander Vance and her fleet were hunting. The ghosts in the void. Chen touched the window glass. His reflection showed a slight smile. The galaxy thought Earth was weak. They had no idea what was coming. The game had only just begun. Admiral Cross stood before the holographic display in the Task Force Command Center. Red markers showed where fleets had disappeared over the past 3 months. 7 incidents now. Each one carefully planned. Each one perfectly executed. "Look at the pattern," Serena said, pointing to the display. "They never attack main battle groups. Only supply fleets or small patrol units, ships that are alone and vulnerable." Quex added his analysis. "The attacks happen in different sectors, but all near major shipping lanes. Whoever is doing this knows our routes. They know when ships will be isolated." Cross studied the map. His military training recognized the strategy. This was not random. This was a campaign. Someone was systematically targeting their weakest points. "We need to catch them in the act," Cross decided. "Set a trap." The plan was simple. They would send out a fake supply convoy with minimal escort, but hidden nearby a full battle group would wait. When the attackers came, they would spring the trap. The convoy consisted of 6 cargo ships and 2 escort frigates. They moved slowly through the Serpent Drift, a quiet area of space between 2 star systems. To anyone watching, they looked like easy prey. Inside the command ship 3 million kilometers away, Cross waited with his team. His claws tapped against the armrest of his command chair. Hours passed with nothing happening. "Maybe they know it is a trap," Serena suggested. Then the sensors flickered. "Just for a moment, what was that?" Cross demanded. "I do not know," Serena said, her fingers flying across her controls. "Something interfered with our sensors. But I see nothing there." The convoy commander's voice came through suddenly. "We are under attack." "Multiple contacts, small and fast." "They are." The transmission cut off. On the display, 2 escort frigates showed critical damage. "The cargo ships were trying to scatter. All ships engage," Cross ordered. "Do not let them escape." The battle group dropped out of faster-than-light travel right on top of the battle. 50 warships appeared, weapons ready. But the attackers were already moving. Small dark shapes darted between the cargo ships like predators. Cross watched in frustration as his ships fired at empty space. The sensors could barely track the enemy vessels. They ran cold, producing almost no heat signature. They moved with incredible precision, dodging fire that should have hit them. "Target ship 3, Cross commanded. "All weapons." Energy beams lanced out, lighting up space. One of the dark shapes took a hit. It spun sideways, trailing debris. But before Cross's ships could finish it, the other attackers created a screen of interference. The damaged ship limped away behind cover. "After them," Cross shouted, but the enemy ships vanished. They accelerated to incredible speeds and were gone in seconds. The whole attack lasted less than 5 minutes. The cargo convoy was destroyed. 2 of Cross's frigates were heavily damaged, and the enemy lost only 1 ship which had escaped. "Get recovery teams to where that damaged ship was," Cross ordered. "Find me anything it left behind." The recovery teams worked for hours, scanning the area with fine sensors. Finally, they found something. A piece of hull plating torn off when the ship was hit. It was small, barely the size of a hand. But it was enough. Serena examined the fragment in her laboratory. She ran every test she knew. The results shocked her. "Admiral," she called, "you need to see this immediately." Cross arrived with Quex. Both looked at Serena's displays. "The metallurgy is unique," Serena explained. "This alloy contains elements arranged in a specific way. I compared it to our database of known species." She brought up another screen. It showed a match. "This metal composition matches Earth manufacturing techniques." The room fell silent. Quex spoke first. "The humans. It is really them?" Cross shook his head. "Impossible. We have seen their ships. They are primitive, slow. They use chemical rockets and simple weapons." "That is what they show us," Quex said quietly. "I have been researching Earth's history. They have a concept called deception. They call it military intelligence. The art of making enemies see what you want them to see." "You think they have been hiding their true capabilities?" Cross asked. "I think they have been very careful about what they reveal," Quex answered. He pulled up files on his datapad. "Look at Earth's wars. Small groups would strike at larger forces. They would hide, attack, and disappear. They would make enemies afraid to move. They call it guerrilla warfare." Serena added her findings. "I reviewed our files on human technology. We dismissed them as primitive, but their material science is actually quite advanced. They build things to last, to survive. Not elegant, but effective." Cross looked at the fragment again. Could the humans really be behind this? The species that bowed and smiled in council meetings? The ambassadors who asked politely for trade agreements? "We need more proof," Cross said. "Find out everything about human ship movements. Where they go, what they do." Over the next week, Quex worked day and night. He tracked human diplomatic ships, trade vessels, anything with Earth's signature. Most were exactly what they claimed to be. Slow ships carrying diplomats or cargo. But there were gaps. Times when human ships entered one system but did not arrive at their destination for days longer than they should. Unexplained fuel consumption. Course deviations that made no sense. They are going somewhere else, Quex concluded, making stops that are not in their flight plans. Meanwhile, Ambassador Chen continued his work at the council. He proposed new agreements. He smiled and nodded when larger species made jokes about Earth's weakness. He played his role perfectly, but his eyes watched everything. He listened to every conversation. He learned which fleets moved where and when. Every piece of information was filed away, sent through coded channels to someone else. Cross's task force finally got their break. A long-range patrol detected unusual readings near a dead system. It was a place with no planets worth colonizing, no resources worth mining, no reason for anyone to go there. But someone is there, the patrol captain reported. Brief energy signatures. Very small. Could be nothing, or could be something, Cross said. Mark that location. We are going to investigate. The task force prepared for a major operation. They gathered a fleet of 20 ships, the best they had. If humans were hiding there, they would find them. And this time there would be no escape. As they prepared to leave, Ambassador Chen received a coded message in his quarters. He read it quickly, then deleted it. The message was simple. They know. Trap being set. Proceed to Phase 2. Chen stood at his window looking out at the stars. The trap was not for the humans. The trap was for the Galactic Council. They just did not know it yet. He picked up his communication device and sent 3 words back. Let them come. The hunt was about to become very different. The prey was about to show their teeth. Commander Sarah Vance floated in zero gravity inside the command center of the stealth carrier Retribution. Around her, holographic displays showed 23 small attack ships positioned throughout the asteroid field. Her fleet, her ghosts. Status report, she said calmly. All ships ready, Commander, replied her tactical officer, Lieutenant Park. The Council fleet is 6 hours away from our position. Vance nodded. 6 hours. Enough time to review the mission that had brought them here. Enough time to remember why they fought. 7 months ago, Vance had been on Mars. She remembered that day perfectly. It was bright and clear, the kind of Martian day when you could see all the way to Olympus Mons. Her daughter Emma had just turned 8. They were celebrating at the colony's central dome. Then the Krathen fleet arrived. They had not come to negotiate or make contact. They came to demonstrate power, to show Earth what happened to species that did not know their place. 30 massive warships positioned above Mars' colony. Their weapons charged. The colony sent desperate messages. They begged. They pleaded. They explained they were civilians, families, children. The Krathan commander's response was simple. You are beneath notice. This is a lesson. The energy beams came down like judgment from the gods. The dome shattered. The atmosphere vented into space. 300,000 people died in less than an hour. Emma died holding her mother's hand as the emergency shelter failed. Vance had been in orbit on a supply station. She watched it happen, helpless, screaming at communication screens that showed only static. When it was over, Mars was silent. A graveyard spinning in the void. Earth protested to the Galactic Council. Ambassador Chen stood before them and demanded justice. He showed them recordings of the massacre. He begged them to hold the Krathan accountable. The Council's response made Vance's blood boil even now. Mars colony was in Krathan patrol space. They had the right to test their weapons. Humans should be grateful it was not Earth itself. Know your place, primitives. That night, Earth's military leaders met in secret. Generals, admirals, intelligence directors. They all agreed on one thing. If the galaxy would not give them justice, they would take it themselves. Operation Ghost Protocol was born. Earth could not win a straight fight. Their ships were slower. Their weapons were less advanced. But humanity had spent 10,000 years perfecting the art of war against other humans. They knew how to fight when outmatched. They studied their enemies. The Krathan relied on shields and energy weapons. Their sensors detected heat and electromagnetic radiation, so humans built ships that ran cold using minimal power. They used stealth materials developed from submarine warfare. They became invisible for weapons. They went back to basics. Kinetic energy. A solid object moving fast enough could punch through any shield. Human railguns could accelerate projectiles to near light speed. Simple physics. Unstoppable force. The strategy was guerrilla warfare on a galactic scale. Hit supply lines. Destroy isolated patrols. Make the Council afraid to move. Make them bleed resources. Never give them a target to strike back at. And it was working. Vance's fleet had destroyed 17 Council ships in 3 months. They captured supplies, weapons, and technology. Human engineers reverse-engineered alien equipment at incredible speed. What took other species decades, humans accomplished in weeks. Necessity drove innovation. The stolen technology was sold through intermediaries to other species. Funds flowed back to Earth, financing the war. The Council did not even know they were paying for their own defeat. Commander, we have incoming message from Command, Park said. It is Director Chen. Vance pulled up the communication. Chen's face appeared on her screen. Behind him, she could see the Council station through his window. Sarah, Chen said quietly, they have taken the bait. Cross is bringing 20 ships to your position. He believes you are at the asteroid base. Good, Vance replied. The base is rigged and ready. Did you confirm the timing? Yes. The charges will detonate 2 minutes after they enter weapons range. That will be your signal. Understood. Any other news from the Council? Chen's face darkened. They are getting nervous. More species are questioning Krathan authority. The disappearing fleets have them scared. But Sarah, if this goes wrong, it will not go wrong, Vance interrupted. We have been planning this for months. Trust the plan. I do trust it. I trust you. But the Council will not forgive us if they discover the truth. They will come for Earth with everything they have. Let them try, Vance said coldly. We have prepared for that too. Earth is not defenseless anymore. The communication ended. Vance looked at the tactical display. 6 hours until contact. She activated ship-wide communication. All hands, this is Commander Vance. You know what we are here to do. The Krathan fleet coming for us thinks they are the hunters. They think we are prey hiding in the dark. They are wrong. We are the predators. We are the nightmare that hunts them back. She paused, letting her words sink in. They killed our people on Mars. They laughed at our dead. They told us to know our place. Today we show them our place. We show them what humanity does to those who hurt us. We show them that we are not prey. We are not pets. We are warriors, and we do not forgive. We do not forget. The crew erupted in quiet acknowledgement. Every person on every ship had lost someone on Mars. This was personal for all of them. All ships to silent running, Vance ordered. No emissions. No signals. We are ghosts. Let them come looking for us. The fleet went dark. 23 ships became invisible, hidden among thousands of asteroids. The Retribution itself merged with a large rock, matching its rotation and temperature. To any sensor, they would appear to be nothing but lifeless stone. Lieutenant Park activated the decoy base. It was built inside a hollow asteroid, designed to look like a small human outpost. Life support signatures, power readings, communication signals. Everything that would say target here to an attacking fleet. But beneath the surface, the asteroid was packed with nuclear weapons, enough to vaporize everything within 1,000 kilometers, and Vance's ship surrounded it like a noose waiting to tighten. The waiting began. Hours passed in silence. Vance floated in her command chair, reviewing tactical plans. She thought about Emma, about all the children who died on Mars, about making the galaxy pay for their deaths. 5 minutes to contact, Park announced. All ships prepare for engagement, Vance ordered. Weapons hot. Engines ready. Remember your positions. 2 minutes. Vance watched the sensors. 20 dots appeared at the edge of detection range. The Krathan fleet coming in fast and confident. 1 minute. The enemy ships slowed, forming an attack formation. They targeted the decoy base with their weapons. Admiral Cross's voice boomed across open frequencies. Attention, human vessels. You are surrounded. Surrender now and we will be merciful. Vance smiled coldly. She opened a channel, letting him see her face for the first time. Admiral Cross, she said. You killed 300,000 of my people. Did you think we would forget? Before Cross could respond, Vance gave the order. Detonate, the asteroid base exploded. Nuclear fire expanded outward, swallowing the 3 closest council ships. The others scattered, their shields lighting up as debris hammered against them. And from the darkness, from every direction, Vance's ghost ships emerged with weapons blazing. The hunt had become a battle. And humanity was done hiding. The nuclear blast turned space white for 3 seconds. When the light faded, 3 Krathan warships were gone, torn apart by the explosion. The remaining 17 ships scattered, their commanders shouting orders in confusion. Admiral Cross gripped his command chair as his flagship rocked from the shockwave. His 3 eyes went wide as sensors showed what was happening. Human ships appeared from nowhere, surrounding his fleet completely. How many? He demanded. 23 contacts, his sensor officer reported, voice shaking. They were hiding in the asteroid field. We flew right into their trap. This was impossible. The prey had become the hunter. Cross felt something he had not felt in many years. Fear. All ships defensive formation. Return fire! The council ships moved into a tight group, shields overlapping for protection. Their weapons blazed, sending energy beams across space. But the human ships danced between the fire like ghosts. They were small and fast, impossible to hit. Commander Vance watched from the Retribution as her attack ships began their work. Each one carried railguns loaded with tungsten projectiles. Simple metal slugs accelerated to a fraction of light speed. No energy signature to detect. No shields could stop them. Target the big one, Vance ordered, pointing at Cross's flagship. Show them what primitive means. 4 attack ships focused fire on the flagship. Tungsten rounds hammered into its shields at impossible speeds. The shields flared bright, struggling to absorb the kinetic energy. Then they failed. The rounds punched through the hull like paper. Atmosphere vented from a dozen holes. Cross's ship lurched sideways, damaged but still fighting. All ships, focus fire on the small craft, Cross ordered. They cannot dodge forever. But the humans had prepared for this. They released clouds of metal chaff and electronic interference. The council ship's targeting systems went crazy, seeing false contacts everywhere. When they fired, they hit nothing but empty space. Lieutenant Park coordinated the attack from Retribution. Wing Alpha flanked them from above. Wing Beta hit their engines. Wing Gamma, prepare boarding torpedoes. The boarding torpedoes were a human innovation, small pods that could attach to enemy hulls and cut through. Inside each pod were 6 combat troops in powered armor, armed with weapons designed for ship interiors. 3 torpedoes launched, streaking toward a damaged Krathan cruiser. They attached to the hull with magnetic clamps and began cutting through. 2 minutes later, human troops were inside. The Krathan crew had never experienced boarding actions. Their tactics assumed ships fought ship to ship in open space, but humans had been fighting inside ships and submarines for centuries. They knew every trick, every advantage. The human troops moved through the cruiser's corridors in zero gravity. The Krathens struggled to fight without gravity, flailing awkwardly. But humans trained for this. They pushed off walls with practiced ease, firing weapons with perfect accuracy. Within 10 minutes, they captured the bridge. The Krathen captain surrendered, shocked and humiliated. "Strike Team 1 reporting," came the voice over Vance's communication. "Cruiser Defiant captured. Minimal casualties." Cross watched in horror as one of his ships went dark, its identification beacon now broadcasting a human signal. They were being boarded. In all his years of warfare, he had never seen this tactic. "Serena, can you counter their electronic warfare?" Cross demanded. The Volari tech analyst worked frantically at her station. "I am trying, Admiral. But their systems are crude and effective. They simply flood our sensors with noise. There is no elegant solution." "Then find an ugly one," Cross shouted. Another explosion rocked the fleet as a Council destroyer took a direct hit to its reactor. It broke apart, adding more debris to the chaotic battlefield. They had lost 5 ships now, a quarter of the fleet destroyed or captured. Quex appeared at Cross's side, his thin frame shaking. "Admiral, we need to withdraw." "This is not a battle we can win. Withdraw? We outnumber them." "Numbers mean nothing if we cannot hit them," Quex said. "Look at what they are doing. They use the asteroids for cover. They blind our sensors. They board our ships. These are not the tactics of a primitive species. These are the tactics of experienced warriors." Cross knew Quex was right, but pride made him hesitate. The Krathen did not retreat. They did not lose to inferior species. Then Commander Vance's voice came over open communication channels, broadcast to every ship in the battle. Her face appeared on Cross's main screen. "Admiral Cross," she said calmly, "we can keep killing your ships, or you can listen. You will pay for this treachery, human." Cross snarled. "Treachery?" Vance's expression turned cold. "You murdered 300,000 of my people. You destroyed Mars colony, women, children, families. You laughed at our pleas for justice. You told us to know our place." She leaned closer to her camera. "This is our place. We are the species that survives. We adapt, we overcome. You taught us that the galaxy respects only strength, so we became strong. You attack from the shadows like cowards," Cross accused. "We fight smart," Vance corrected. "You want honorable battle? Line up ships and shoot? That is your way. Our way is to win, by any means necessary." Cross watched as another of his ships took damage. His fleet was being cut apart piece by piece. He had no good options left. "What do you want?" he finally asked. "I want you to take a message to your council," Vance said. "Tell them humanity remembers. Every ship we destroy, every soldier we kill is payment for Mars. We will not stop. We will not negotiate. Not until the galaxy recognizes what you did was genocide. Not until you pay for your crimes." She activated another transmission. Suddenly, every communication screen in the galaxy lit up. Council stations, civilian networks, news broadcasts, all showed the same thing: footage of the Mars colony massacre. Real video, preserved and hidden until now. Images of children running from falling domes, families dying as oxygen vented, the Krathen fleet hanging above it all, weapons glowing. Then the final message from Mars. "Please, we have children here. Please, cut to silence." The galaxy watched in shock. Many species had not known about Mars. The Council had kept it quiet, a minor incident not worth mentioning. But now everyone saw the truth. "You kept this hidden," Vance said to Cross. "You treated genocide like a training exercise. Now everyone knows. Now they see what you are." Throughout the galaxy, on 1,000 worlds, people watched. Species that had suffered under Council authority. Smaller civilizations that lived in fear. They saw humans fighting back. They saw the mighty Krathen fleet trapped and bleeding. And they began to think, if humans can fight back, maybe we can too. On the Council station, Ambassador Chen stood in the main hall watching the broadcast. Around him, diplomats from dozens of species stared at screens in horror and fascination. Some looked at Chen with new respect. Others with fear. Chen spoke clearly so everyone could hear. "My government tried to seek justice through proper channels. You denied us.
You mocked us.
You told us might makes right in this galaxy." He gestured at the screen showing Vance's battle. "We learned that lesson well." Back at the asteroid field, Cross made his decision. Pride was not worth losing his entire fleet. "All ships cease fire. Prepare to withdraw." "You are letting us go?" Cross asked Vance. "I am letting you deliver my message," Vance replied. "Tell the Council we are not finished. Tell them we will keep fighting until justice is served. Tell them that humanity does not forgive." She paused, then added quietly, "And tell them this is just the beginning." Cross's fleet retreated, leaving behind 5 destroyed ships and 2 captured ones. As they jumped to faster-than-light speed, Vance allowed herself a moment of satisfaction. But she knew the truth. This was not a victory. This was a declaration of war. The Council would respond with overwhelming force. "Get me command," Vance ordered. "Tell them the Council knows. Tell them to implement the final defense protocols." The real battle was about to begin, and it would be fought at Earth itself. The Council's war fleet gathered at the edge of Crathan space. 500 warships, the largest armada assembled in a century. Representatives from all 3 ruling species commanded different sections. They had one mission: destroy Earth completely. Admiral Cross stood on the bridge of his new flagship. His last ship had been too damaged to continue. This humiliation burned inside him. But it also brought clarity. The humans were dangerous, more dangerous than anyone had believed. They had to be eliminated before their rebellion spread. "All ships report ready," his tactical officer announced. "Then we go," Cross said. "To Earth. No mercy this time." The massive fleet entered faster than light travel. The journey would take 2 days. 2 days for Earth to prepare. 2 days for humanity to realize their end was coming. On Earth, emergency sirens wailed in every city. Commander Vance had returned home to coordinate the defense. She stood in the command center deep beneath the North American continent, watching displays that showed humanity's desperate preparations. "Civilian evacuation status?" she asked. 70% of major cities evacuated to underground shelters, reported General Martinez, head of Earth Defense. "Remote colonies have been warned. Those that can hide are doing so." Vance nodded. Earth had spent the last months preparing for this exact scenario. Cities had hidden bunkers. Mountains had been hollowed out for refugees. Mars survivors helped design facilities that could sustain life even if the surface became uninhabitable. "What about the fleet?" Martinez pulled up the display. 50 human warships orbited Earth and the Moon. 50 ships against 500. The mathematics were brutal. "We also have the fixed defenses," Martinez added. "Every asteroid in the system has been weaponized. Every piece of debris is a potential kinetic kill vehicle. And we have the special weapons." The special weapons. Humanity's final gambit. For months, engineers had been attaching rocket engines to large asteroids, not just in the Sol system but in nearby systems too. When activated, these asteroids would accelerate to incredible speeds and travel through faster-than-light space. Relativistic kill vehicles on a massive scale. The problem was timing. The asteroids had been launched weeks ago, traveling to intercept points. If the Council fleet arrived early or late, the timing would be wrong. "We calculated their arrival window based on Cross's usual tactics," Vance said. "We have to trust our mathematics." Ambassador Chen had returned to Earth as well. His job at the Council was finished. Now he worked with the propaganda division, preparing messages to broadcast across the galaxy. "How many species are watching?" he asked his team. "All of them," his assistant replied. "After your last broadcast showing Mars, everyone wants to see what happens. Smaller species are hoping we win. The Council species are waiting to see us punished." Chen understood. This was not just a battle for Earth's survival. It was a message to the entire galaxy. If Earth could stand against the Council, maybe others could too. If Earth fell, it would be a lesson. Rebellion leads to extinction. The 2 days passed too quickly. Long-range sensors detected the Council fleet approaching. They came out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the solar system near Neptune's orbit. "There they are," Martinez said grimly. 500 ships. They are not hiding their strength. The Council fleet began moving inward toward Earth. They traveled slowly, maintaining perfect formation, a demonstration of power. They wanted humanity to watch them coming, to feel fear build with each passing hour. Cross broadcast a message on all frequencies. His three-eyed face appeared on every screen on Earth. "Humans of Earth," he began. "You have committed acts of war against the Galactic Council. You have destroyed our ships, killed our people, spread lies and propaganda. For these crimes, your species will be eliminated. Surrender now and your deaths will be quick. Resist and we will glass your entire planet." Vance activated her own broadcast in response. Her face appeared not just on Earth's screens but across the galaxy. Billions of beings on thousands of worlds watched. "Admiral Cross," she said calmly, "you came here to destroy us because we fought back against genocide. You think overwhelming numbers will win, but you are about to learn an important lesson about humanity." She paused for effect. "We do not surrender. We do not kneel. And if you want our world, you will pay for every meter of it in blood." The human fleet launched from Earth orbit, 50 ships against 500. They looked tiny on the tactical displays, moths flying toward a bonfire. But they did not run. They accelerated straight at the enemy. The Council fleet opened fire first. Energy beams lanced across space. Missiles streaked forward by the thousands. The human fleet activated their countermeasures, releasing chaff and electronic warfare signals. Some missiles went wild. Some hit their targets. 3 human ships exploded in the first exchange. Then 5 more. The numbers were brutal, but the human ships kept coming. They split into small groups, using tactics learned from months of guerrilla warfare. They targeted the largest Council ships, knowing that destroying them would spread fear, and then the asteroids arrived. Throughout the solar system, hundreds of weaponized asteroids activated. They had been waiting, drifting in calculated positions. Now they accelerated, converting their mass and velocity into devastating kinetic weapons. The first wave hit the Council fleet's rear formations. A 5-kilometer asteroid traveling at a fraction of light speed struck a Krathan battleship. The battleship simply ceased to exist, vaporized by the impact. The asteroids behind it took damage from the debris cloud. "What is this?" Cross demanded. "Where did those come from?" "They were already here," Serena reported in horror. "They weaponized their entire solar system. Every asteroid, every moon, every piece of debris. It is all aimed at us." More impacts followed. The Council fleet tried to maneuver, but the asteroids came from every direction. Some ships shot them down, but there were too many. For every asteroid destroyed, 2 more appeared. The Council fleet's formations broke apart as ships scattered to avoid the kinetic bombardment. And that was when Vance's Ghost Fleet struck, the stealth ships she had held in reserve, hiding in the darkness beyond the battle. They emerged from concealment and attacked the disorganized Council ships from behind. "All ships boarding actions," Vance commanded. "Show them how we fight." Human boarding pods launched by the hundreds. They attached to Council ships and cut through. Trained troops poured inside, bringing the battle to places where the Council's superior weapons meant nothing. Inside corridors and chambers, only skill mattered, and humans had spent centuries perfecting close-quarters combat. The battle descended into chaos. Council ships fired on each other accidentally. Human troops captured ship after ship from the inside. More asteroids hammered the fleet from impossible angles. Cross watched his perfect armada fall apart. They had lost 100 ships already. 100! Against a primitive species with 50 warships. But the humans were paying too. Of their 50 defending ships, only 18 remained functional. The planet Earth itself was taking damage from stray fire and deliberate bombardment. Then the relativistic kill vehicles arrived. These were the special weapons Martinez had mentioned. Asteroids launched weeks ago from nearby star systems. They had traveled through faster-than-light space and now dropped back into normal space right in the middle of the Council fleet. They were not large asteroids, but they were traveling at 90% of light speed. When the first one hit a Council command ship, the explosion was visible from Earth. It looked like a new sun had been born for 3 seconds. 4 more impacts followed. Each one destroyed multiple ships. The Council fleet began to panic. Their formations collapsed completely. Some ships tried to flee. Others fired wildly in all directions. "Admiral, we have lost 200 ships," Quex reported to Cross. His voice shook. "We cannot sustain this. We need to withdraw." Cross looked at the tactical display. His perfect armada was shattered. The humans had turned their entire solar system into a weapon. Every planet, moon, and rock was a potential threat. And they were still fighting. Even as their ships died, even as their planet burned, they kept fighting. "Send the retreat order," Cross finally said. The words tasted like poison. "All ships withdraw immediately." The surviving Council ships fled. They jumped to faster-than-light travel in 1s and 2s, abandoning their damaged comrades. Of 500 ships, barely 300 escaped. As the enemy fled, Vance allowed herself to breathe. Earth's defense had held, barely. The cost was terrible. 20 million dead from bombardment, 47 ships destroyed, several cities damaged beyond repair. But they had won. She activated communication to all human forces. Ceasefire. The enemy is retreating. Begin rescue operations for survivors. Then she opened a broadcast to the galaxy, knowing everyone was watching. Today, the Galactic Council tried to exterminate humanity. They came with 500 warships. They promised to glass our planet. They failed. She let that sink in for a moment. Let this be a lesson to anyone who thinks they can destroy us. We are human. We survive. We adapt, we fight, and we do not forget. The Council owes us justice for Mars' colony. Until we receive it, we will not stop. We will not surrender. We will keep fighting. Throughout the galaxy, smaller species watched with new hope. In the council chambers, the ruling species looked at each other with fear. Everything had changed. 3 months later, Ambassador Chen stood before the Galactic Council once more. But this time, the Council stood for him. This time, they listened. The Council offers the following terms, the head counselor announced. Full recognition of Earth as a sovereign species with Council representation. Reparations for Mars colony totaling 1 trillion credits. Criminal charges against those responsible for the Mars massacre. And a formal apology. Chen nodded slowly. Earth accepts these terms. It was not everything humanity wanted. But it was justice. It was recognition. It was proof that even the smallest species could demand their rights if they were willing to fight for them. 5 years later, Commander Vance retired from military service. She stood at a memorial on Mars, restored and rebuilt. 300,000 names were carved into black stone. She placed flowers at her daughter's name. Emma Vance, age 8. We did it, baby, she whispered. We made them pay. We made them remember. The galaxy had learned its lesson. Humanity was not prey. They were predators. They were survivors. They were warriors. And they would never be ignored again.